Your sister's engaged to be married next year, and I know where she draws the line. She draws the line at kissing on the lips. She doesn't even do that, does she?
No, she doesn't.
Do you agree with that position? Is that where you would draw the line?
I guess from my perspective, having been in a relationship, I think it's very easy for it to go too far. So for me, I'd have to really know the person and probably wait till I was engaged, till I kissed them. Until I was sure that I wanted to be with that person, because I think very easily that kiss can turn into sex, and I think we do have to be careful. Jason, I want to ask you, you're a former NRL footballer, you're now a celibate man, you've written about this in your book Worth the Wait. Where do you draw the line? What's allowed?
For me, it's been a bit trial and error, to be honest with you, because, you know, as a guy, you get fired up and, you know, you sort of need to work it out between each other, so see what boundaries you put in place. And
for example, the act, I think the French call it frottage. I think in the rugby league world they call it dry rooting. Is that allowed?
Well, see, the whole thing is what you're doing there is it's foreplay. You're actually telling your body, I'm going to have sex. What's the whole use of going to that place? And, you know, to be honest with you, for me, as I said, it's been trial and error. I pash regularly, I'll be honest with you.
OK, so we know you pash. Daniel, where do you draw the line?
Well, I draw the line with kissing.
Okay.
Kissing and close hugging, that's something that we did for a very long time.
Of course, there's plenty of people who don't abide by the belief that you shouldn't have sex before marriage. Let's hear from somebody who thinks it's all a bit outdated.
My name's Vanessa Alia. I come from a background of a Muslim Lebanese father and an Anglo-Saxon mum who was raised Christian, and then she turned to Eastern Buddhist beliefs when she was older. So I would describe myself as spiritual, metaphysical in my beliefs, and eclectic and diverse. When I was growing up, there were no boyfriends. I think my father very much wanted to protect me in the way that he knew how. I certainly went through a phase in my early 20s where I thought that to smash taboos and to lose one's inhibitions was the most important thing to liberate yourself. I think that the prohibitions placed on premarital sex by various religions had practical origins. They developed with the best of intentions, but I think people need to reclaim that. I think there are people who have more love and more commitment and more success in their relationships even though they're not married. The hypocrisy is there when we condemn people for their sexual behaviour when our own minds are a quagmire of unconscious sexual desires.
Vanessa, I get the feeling you think all this angst over sex is a bit of a waste of time and energy. Is that correct?
I think a lot of psychic, emotional energy has gone into fighting with ourselves over it.
What about yourself as an individual? Do you have any rules when it comes to sex?
Sexual morality is a bit like a mathematical formula that you're taught at school. You don't know how it was arrived at, you're just told to apply it. And I think that the formula doesn't always apply, especially now in the age of post-contraception. Because we can separate sex from baby making, my sexual behaviour is no longer as much your business as it used to be in the days before contraception.
So Vanessa thinks the kind of religious codes on sex are outdated. Why are they relevant? Nathan, why do you reckon they're relevant today?
If our faith in Christianity is still real, I think the codes that come along with that are still real in our lives too. But I don't think it's a matter of a black and white rule either. Chris
Taylor, is it relevant?
Look, I mean, I don't want to sound like a hedonist, but no, I mean, one thing, I mean, this is maybe something easier for those that don't have faith to relate to, but sex can just be fun, which is why a lot of people have it. It can be meaningful, and in my experience, it's generally much more pleasurable and meaningful when you like the person, but it's still not a bad thing to do when you don't like them. And the great irony of all this discussion, of course, is that even atheists, at the peak of their sexual intercourse, always yell out the name of God. So something weird's going on there.
Jason Stevens, I want to come to you because part of the reason why you rejected casual sex was the culture that you were living in at the time of the footballing culture, where we do see extremes when it comes to casual sex.
I can't speak for every single person in it, but I know for myself that it was very much I want pleasure at the expense of... It didn't really matter how the girl felt. And I was coming a bit disappointed in myself, and I sort of started to not like myself, which I know you find hard to believe, but I actually did. I was really struggling, and I started to outwork some of the reasons why I was feeling that way, and I sort of came to the conclusion that I wasn't really honouring and treating girls as I would like, say, my sisters to be treated.
Up the back there?
This whole try before you buy justification, there's a lot of consequences to that kind of attitude, because what you're saying there is that these people that you're having sexual intercourse with are merely objects. You're treating them like a product.
It's crude language, and I agree with that, but the philosophy of getting to know someone sexually before settling down with them for life, I think has some merit to it.
Oh, and I can see where the justification in that comes from. I personally don't agree. I've had a boyfriend for 2 years now, and we've chosen not to have sex. Do I fear that we're going to be sexually incompatible when we're married? No.
Can I just say, why is it that if you have sex with someone outside of marriage, you're making an object of them? Why can you not enter into a sexual situation with someone in something magical and loving?
You want to make a comment
Why
there?
is that not valid?
You know what this does? This causes conflict between parents and kids. Because parents put their values and beliefs onto their kids and don't allow the kids to go and explore. This is what happened with me, because my parents always tell me, you got to marry Muslim, you got to do this, you got to follow. I think the Muslim religion, I don't even know if it's made up or not. That's the uncertainty I have about the religion. And then for someone to come and tell me, oh, don't go out with these people or don't go and have sex because to believe a religion that I'm not even certain of, I don't buy into it.
Peter Sherlock, the ban on premarital sex is not the only teaching, the religious teaching when it comes to sex. What do the religions say about homosexuality?
Most religions don't say a great deal about homosexuality in their sacred scriptures simply because the idea wasn't around. They may, so for example, the Bible has a little bit to say about same-sex relationships between men, but is pretty silent on lesbianism. Other religions, similarly, there might be one or two mentions, but there's not much detail. But it really challenges the notions for many religions about the unit of the family and the household. And that's whether you're Jewish, Christian, Islamic, whatever, that the centre of society is often set up as this patriarchal household originally, and homosexuality says, well, that doesn't work. It just doesn't fit the model. So there's this kind of tension in religions between the ideals that they say God or gods in some religions set for people and how people's lives actually work out.
Nathan, what are your views on homosexuality as a Christian?
I would say I don't think it's the best place that you can be, personally. I think God's designed marriage and the institution of family to be between a man and a woman. But I'm not condemning people who are, because we all struggle with different things. But I think in terms of the best place that we could be, I think it's man and a woman.
Ali, you want to respond to that?
I think we're all human beings. I think at the end of the day, like, we can't label people. We can't say, oh, because you said we all go through struggles, but who's to say gay people are struggling? How can we even draw? We can't even say that's just wrong. Like,
John Hurt, I want to come to you on this because you're same-sex attracted and you write a blog about sex and sexuality, in particular about your position as a Catholic that sodomy is a sin. How can you be same-sex attracted and also think sodomy is a sin?
Well, the problem with fellatio or a blowjob or giving head or something like that, whether it's for a male and a female or a male and a male, or for a female and a female, is that you're using your sexual organs, which God has created for a particular purpose, that is to bring two human beings together for life and for love. To do something else, you're inserting your reproductive organs into the digestive tract of another human being. That in Catholicism is wrong because God says it's wrong, but also it's wrong because human reason indicates that in the same way that you sharpen a knife to make it excellent, sticking your penis into a mouth is not going to make you an excellent human being.
Tom, you're gay. What's your response to this?
I am gay. I insert my penis into the digestive tract. That doesn't sound sexy at all. That really...